We're shooting one now. The tutorial of connecting the Spider to the CAN board. First of all, we need to flash the firmware for the Spider and the SB CAN board respectively. First brush the firmware to the Spider motherboard. Spider 3.0 provides two modes of entering DFU. One is through the button. One is through the traditional jumper cap. That is to say, you put the jumper cap on the boot 0 and 3.3 volts. It's the first and second in the row of blue. There is a specific logo on our board. The other way is to press the button. Then we use the method of pressing the button here. Before powering up, we jump the jumper cap to DC 5 volts. Because when we use the CAN board to connect, if it is powered by USB, there is a certain probability that it cannot be connected. First, let's power him up. We see that the lights of 24V, 12V, 5V and 33V are all on. Now let's press the button. You can press a few more times because the button is relatively small. If your buttons are inconvenient to operate, the way you go about operating the jumper cap. Let's see if he's in DFU mode. It means that the button operation was unsuccessful. Do it again. Okay, it has entered this DFU mode. Now let's configure the firmware for it. First, come to the Clipper directory. Make mana config. Select STM32. Select F446. Choose no bootloader. If you use the case with bootloader, then you choose according to your bootloader. It is simpler to recommend using no bootloader. Choose 12 MHz crystal. Spider's motherboard is 12 MHz crystal. Select USB to CAN bus bridge. At this time, we no longer need the USB to CAN board to be plugged into the Raspberry Pi. Then the CAN bus is on PD0 and PD1. Then keep the default for CAN bus speed. Now let's burn the firmware kit. Here enter an ID 0483 DF11. Compiling now. Enter the password of the Raspberry Pi. When we see the green word successful, it means it has burned successfully. Found at this place is a Gespester Schneider CAN adapter. That means its firmware has been burned successfully. Let's take a look at the tutorial. To create a file for the Raspberry Pi, I actually created this file. Let's see how to create a file. We use the Nano editor. Here we need to use sudo mode. I have already done it, so his content is already in it. The official configuration for this place is 1 million. I only have 500,000 in this place. The 1 and 500,000 are based on the baud rate of the firmware you just configured. Then save and exit. We use this command to check the ID. This ID is an ID of our motherboard. Then we can save this ID first. If you didn't configure the file in advance, you can see the ID. After the configuration is complete, you have to restart it first to see this ID. First build a printer.cfg. Then save the ID in it. Then let's power up the CAN board. At this time we cannot see the ID of our CAN board. You need to enter a DFU mode for the CAN board. Whether it is CAN 1.2 or CAN 1.3, 24-volt hot swapping is prohibited. Careful to burn out the fuse. We are using a CAN 1.3 board here. Already powered on. Now let's plug him in the USB again. The principle of entering the DFU is that the 5V on the USB is connected to the boot 0 side. At this time I press the reset button. That's the equivalent of powering it back on. At this time, let's see if you have entered DFU mode. You can see that there is an STM32 coming in. Do some configuration. I don't seem to remember much. Let's take a look at the wiki. Come to GitHub to see our schematic diagram. All of our boards actually come with schematics. Let's find our CAN bus is on PB8 and PB9. Then the speed of the CAN bus remains unchanged. Use the burn command. Well, now the firmware has been burned successfully. At this time we will find this board. It also came out with a DFU mode. Unplug the USB cable. Then press the reset button again. We can no longer see that USB device. Now he needs a CAN connection. Okay. Let's find the ID of CAN. Now we can see two CAN devices. Now there is no way to distinguish. Copy both IDs to the printer CFG to distinguish. Now save the two IDs. You can see that the above ID is for the main board, and the one below is for CAN. The next step is to configure the file. Just copy it from our GitHub. This is a configuration of RON 2.4. 3 models are included by default. So make a change. Put the motherboard ID under the MUC. We change the configuration file to the 300 model. You can also look up 300. Already changed. Exit and save. Reported an error. Shielded the extra 2. Find the problem according to the error indicated. Then we now see that it has recognized this chip F446. It means that our motherboard has been connected through CAN bus. The yellow error is that the temperature sensor is not inserted. Now go to configure the CAN board. Copy the content inside can also be downloaded and uploaded. Copy the ID of CAN to the CAN configuration file. Need to delete the 2 places with the same configuration. First, include the configuration name of CAN into the Spider motherboard configuration. Delete this part of extruder. Probe should also be deleted. At this time we see that the CAN board and MCU have been connected. Now plug in the temperature sensor to eliminate the error in the yellow part. Then see there is another error. This error is because mainsail.cfg needs to be included. Okay. I can see the error now. It's actually working now. That's all for the above tutorial. If you have any questions, you can leave a message.